Live. Okay. Can I make the? No, I can't. Can I make this smaller? Why not? Okay. All right then. But I don't like that. I don't want that. Don't want that. 15 minutes. Yeah. Rarely get transcoding. Yeah. We'll see. Alright. Good morning, Destiny. I was going to email you. Have you been okay? Glad to see you today, though. And good morning, Sophia, as well. Dude. Okay, well, send me that email whenever you get a chance. Right now would be fine. You have the opportune. Good morning, Elena. And Audrey, good morning. Madison, good morning. All appearing at the same time. Good morning. We are, I guess, halfway through the second week. Good morning. Grayson, how was your surgery? Rachel, good morning. Love everybody here being everyone here prompt and well can I go to my panel? Open a new tab yet. Can you get my notifications? I follow myself. That's yep. Good morning, Aaliyah. Oh, I don't have my bells. Mute myself. Oh, come on, I can't. That's not fair. Fair. Okay, I'm gonna have to figure out what the login was to my other Twitch account so I can. How are you? How are you all doing this morning? That. So we will start in just a minute or so. A few minutes. Still waiting, Grayson, for your updating me on your shoulder. Hopefully it's good. 1, 2, 8. Oh, you know what? Oh, Aaliyah, no, you did not get your VIP yet. Hang on. Roles manager. Lady. Followers list. Where are you? There you are. What am I doing? Oh, this. Goodness gracious. Back here. Hang on, I'm getting there. Oh, Grayson, I was just curious how your surgery went. How you feeling? All right, Aaliyah, there you go. You should see a diamond next to your name now. Down to one hand typing. Oh. All right. All right. Sounds good. You should figure out how to do text to speech. Surgery went well. Good. Good. Glad to hear it. What if you don't mind me asking, because I am curious, did they give you any pain medication? There you go. Diamond. Diamond. All right. So, today we are finishing up social influence as the title suggests. And goodness. And what else? So we're doing that. And it's going to be compliance. So you have to do this for me. And it's going to be obedience. So you do this for me now because I said so. Dang it. Okay. They skimp people on it nowadays. Yeah, it's probably pretty important that you get skimped on. Goodness. That's good stuff. Okay, so I am going to switch to this view because I actually found that persuasion thing that I was trying to give you yesterday. I found it. Everyone. And so go away. There we go. I found that persuasion thing. So this is what we're gonna start with. I know it's not clients or anything. I mean, it sort of. It's all the social influence sort of works together. You can dissect which bits are which, but we will start with this one because I found the quiz. Now the answers are on this, so I am going to scroll very slowly. Okay. So Robert Cialdini, as yesterday, as we talked about yesterday, wrote a book called Persuasion. It's about persuasion because he's the the idea with persuasion is like, how good are you at establishing the persuasive relationship? Like a salesperson. So there are, I think, 5 questions. So the quiz starts just underneath here. And what I want you to do is drop in chat the answer. They're multiple choice, so just drop in chat what you think is the case. Or I can do polls. Do you want me to do polls? I can do polls if you want. If it's easier, or if drop it in chat. It's just like ABC or ABCD, whatever it is. Let me know if you think poll in chat would be better. So 5 scenarios, only 5 questions, 5 scenarios to answer each. Polls. Okay, I will do polls. Okay, so slow roll. Aha. Okay, I almost revealed the answer. Okay. All right. Question 1. So you can read the question. Researchers approached people and asked if they'd be willing to provide an email address so they could receive information on how to get a brand new type of soft drink. Under these circumstances, only 33% agreed. But for a second sample, so I'm just going to do A, B, C, and then this is going to be one. You have 1 minute to give your answer. But for a second sample, going now at the top of the poll. But for a second sample, the researchers added more sentence to the request and agreement jumped to 75%. What do you think it was? A, before describing the new soft drink, the researchers asked, do you consider yourself an adventurous person who likes to try new things? B, while describing the soft drink, the researcher said, we'll think you'll love it. And C, while describing the soft drink, the researcher says, it's done very well in taste tests. So which one do you think it is? A, B, or C? You're running out of time, everyone. I said, we did polls and then nobody's answering. Don't go look up the answers. I know the link is right there. Don't look at the answers. Run out of time, everyone. Run out of time. And they all won. Oh, C, just in the nick of time. The answer is C. It's done very well in taste tests. Let's see what it says. The answer was A. According to Foot in the Door, right? If you do a small little thing and you create a sense of social, if you create a sense of invoking something nice about the person. Oh, you're so helpful. It's like the Burger and Caldwell. Oh, you're helpful. But here it was adventurous, right? Okay, so we'll do, hopefully question 2 poll will get more answers. Ooh, I almost went. So number 2, I almost went too far. Question 2. Q2, A, B, C. All right, before I start the poll, let me read it. An online furniture store that specializes in sofas sent half of its visitors to a site landing page that depicted the fluffy clouds on the background wallpaper. The other half of visitors were sent to a site with a landing page that depicted pennies in the background. What happened? Those seeing clouds preferred comfortable sofas for purchase. Those seeing pennies preferred low-price sofas for purchases. Both A and B occurred. Poll. Boom. Go. Ah, lots of people think both are occurring. All right. C. Good job, everyone. Oh, well, the poll was still going. Oh, well. Simply directing visitors' attention to the clouds, which is associated with comfort, made seeing comfort as more important. And then pennies with the low price. So, good job, everyone. Well done. Well done. Okay. Come up with number 3 here in just a second. Get poll going here. Q3, A, B, C. All right. Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein proclaimed as the most beautiful thing we can experience. What one thing? A, the mysterious. B, the mind. C, art. Here comes the poll with 1 minute to vote. Content does not meet guidelines. The same. Did. There we go. Question 3. A, B, or C? Yeah, the polls are up at the top of the chat. They should appear with the words current poll, the title of the poll. I'm just doing Q number. Thanks, Sophia, for helping out there. All right, how are we doing? B1. Okay, sorry, I was looking at something. It's funny. A was the answer. That's what Albert Einstein said. Mysteries begin the process of exploration. And so, for Einstein, that was the most beautiful thing. There's an implication for persuasion. A salesperson who begins a message by posing a mystery spurs customers to begin an exploration of the message content. Think about that next time you have to sell something. Okay, number 4. Coming up with another poll. Q4. And then we'll do an A, a B, and a C. All right. Almost went too far again. Diners at Chinese restaurants became significantly more I think that was more likely to order menu items if the managers changed one thing about how the items were labeled. What was it? A, the dishes were described as chef's specials. B, the dishes were described as most popular on the menu. Or C, the dishes were listed as slightly less expensive than before. You know, they did, instead of $15, they did $14.99. Which one do you think it is? Okay, lots of B's. So most popular. C, coming up with slightly less expensive. Coming up. Ooh, C, coming up. Coming up. I like it. Let's see what happens. C. Okay. 15 seconds, 20 seconds, something like that. I don't know. Yeah. Screw chef specials, right? They're not worth it. Like, C took it. Yep, C took it. All right, let's see what they said. The answer is B. In keeping with the principle of social proof, people often think it is wise for them to do something if they are given initial evidence that a lot of others have been doing it. Social proof. Yep. That's a real strong one, right? That's a real strong one. want one more. One more poll. Q5. A, B, C. All right, Q5. Visitors to a fast food restaurant were greeted warmly as they entered by the manager and ushered to the counter where they could place an order. Other visitors were also greeted warmly and in addition were given a gift by the manager, either a cup of yogurt or a nice keychain. Aw. Which of these types of visitors then ordered the most food? So, A, the yogurt, B, the keychain, or C, no gift, just the warm greeting. Here comes the poll right at you. What do we think? Hi, Megan. D, the keychain. Okay. People like the keychain. Keychain idea. Okay. 15 seconds left. Oh my goodness, what? It looks like it's going to be. Looks like it's, yeah, people. Alrighty. B, the keychain. The answer was A, the yogurt. Reciprocation. And here's where reciprocation in kind is really important. Okay. People feel obligated to give what, is first given to them. So why is it then just not, why is it then why the key, let me rephrase. Start over. Why is it not the keychain, but the food? Well, the food is reciprocation of food. So they gave you food, and now the obligation is, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll just I guess I'll buy more food because that's the obligation. Keychain doesn't fit with buying more food. Yes, it's a gift, but it doesn't instigate reciprocation of the food. Does that make sense? Right? So the reciprocation has to be in kind. Okay? So how did we do? How did we do? Let me know in chat how you did. Because I am curious. Four to five. All right, not bad, Sophia. Not bad. Not bad at all. Three out of five. 3 out of 5. Okay, fair enough. 3 out of 5. Okay. Alrighty. So that's persuasion slash compliance. That's why I wanted to do it, because you use the tools of compliance in sales. How many of you who has worked in some sort of sales domain, whether it's retail, literally sales, like sales jobs are a dime a dozen. Like, how many of you have worked in some sort of selling situation? Let me know. I'm curious. So Target. So many Karens. Wow, a lot of people worked at Target. Target's hiring everybody. Oh, Grayson, you did cold calls. I feel so sorry for you. I used to have to do that when I worked for a storage facility. I used to have to call. And it seems weird that you have to, like, cold call for self-storage, but you know what? Market was saturated. It was saturated. So, like, why am I cold calling people? Like, do you need storage? No. Cold calls, Aaliyah, are when you get a list of potential customers, or even, generally speaking, it's a marketing list of people's names, addresses, and phone numbers, for a particular product or for a particular service. But sometimes it's just like a giant list, and you literally pick up the phone, call them, and be like, "Hey, are you interested in X, Y, and Z?" And most of the and so when your parents used to get called on their landline, back in the day. What are landlines? You know, at like dinner time, a telemarketer would be like, "Hey, do you have a moment to talk about blah blah blah?" Those are cold calls. Oh, calling today. I don't know what I'm saying. Okay. So that was persuasion. Compliance. So how many of you? So who is? I want to know this. I want to know this. Who in chat is really good at getting people to do what they want in a sort of nice, nice way, not in a manipulative sense, not with maliciousness in there, but like, who is good? Who thinks they're good? I'll rephrase it like that. Who perceives themselves to be good at getting what they want, according to like the eight ideas that I offered in the video lecture, right? So, social proof, reciprocity, complaining, even. I can't even remember what the 8 were at this point. I did that so long ago. I did that like a month ago. Kinda. Oh, you gotta get a little bit. You gotta give me a little bit more than that, Sophia. Destiny, not you. You're not very good at this. Hey, Cloudy Haley. Cloudy Haley. Elena, you can be very persuasive. You can say, Grayson, I consider myself sufficient. What works better for you? Things like foot in the door or door in the face? Aaliyah, you're pretty good. Audrey, oh, I'm sorry. Destiny and Audrey, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not either. I don't perceive myself as good at getting people to do what I need them. I can't even get my kids to do stuff. They're supposed to listen to me. So, I'm gonna go with no. I'll go with no on that one. Sometimes I can even get my dog to do what I need them to do. So, you know, as far as compliance is concerned, no, I am not. I am not good at it. I'm not good at it. All right. So one of the questions was, does using a combination of different types of compliance help you get what you want in a faster or more efficient way? The answer is yes. If you use more of those 8 techniques that I told you about, if you use more of them, you're gonna be better at it. Okay, you're gonna be better at it. So yeah, I think that I think it's a fun thing, and it's part of the reason why in the little blurb, I don't know how many of you actually looked at the little blurb on the page that described what this class was going to be like, where I said, do you want to use social psychology to get what you want? Reciprocity and social proof, they are so powerful. Okay, lots of people are doing it, and here, let me give you something so you now feel obligated. They're so powerful in a social sense. Hey, Will Ph.D, thanks for coming by. I'm gonna join the Discord on TKF a little bit later, but yeah, thanks for coming by. Hey, hi, appreciate it. All right, so on the note of getting people to do what you want, there was another question about, are there any door-in-the-face advertisements? And I'm curious if you all think so. Before I give the answer, I'm curious if you think you have seen a door-in-the-face advertisement from a company trying to sell a product, trying to get you to buy a product or a service. Have you seen something door in the face? Because it's a curious question, and I think it's a useful question to ask, and whether or not door in the face is a good strategy or a bad strategy for advertisers. What do you think? There is one component of it that is incredibly important. So let me know. What do you think door in the face? Do you know of any door in the face? 1, and 2, is it a good idea for advertisers to do door in the face? What do you think? As I this one. Katie, door in the face is a compliance technique where you do a very demonstrably large request, knowing that it's going to be rejected, and then you can, so like as if a door is slamming in your face, right? And so if I'm like, well, what about this smaller offer? And really your goal is the smaller offer, okay? So I'm asking my students whether or not they have seen any door-in-the-face advertisements, and whether or not that'd be a good strategy. Let me know in chat. I think it works for certain people depending on their income, socioeconomic status. I feel like you have. It could be, Kitty. That could be pitching a terrible idea, so your second idea is better in comparison. What about those ads where it starts out with a fake ad for a really bad fake product, then switches to the ad for a product rating. Product rating ad. Okay. Maybe. Although, do you know of any specific ones, or are you just like kind of formulating that one, Audrey? Because I'm curious. Can't remember the exact website. Okay. Grayson, if yeah, from a sales standpoint, they do it all the time. Oh, for real? Yeah. I'm just talking about advertising in general, because like yesterday when we did the stream, we had I showed you a number of advertisements that were, persuasion and any other in some kind of vein, right? And so would those advertisements be effective if you made it door in the face rather than going from small request to a big request, going from a big request to a small request? Okay. Generally speaking, to move on, because I do want to play this. To move on, the answer, I think, to this question is door in the face is likely not a good strategy for long-term advertising. And the main reason is because door in the face requires an immediate action. It needs to be very quick, right? The smaller request needs to immediately follow the large request. And if you're advertising to somebody on TV, or you're advertising somebody in the newspaper or magazine or on the internet somewhere, it's unlikely the large request will be followed immediately by the small request. Okay. So, to that end, I don't think advertisers utilize it because they can't create that immediate time, that they can't create that immediate commitment in time. It needs to be very quick. Yeah, Kitty, you're right. Door in the face does work well for fundraising. Yeah, it sure does. That's why when you try to do a fundraiser, or if you watch people doing stuff on Twitch for donating or whatever, or you go to a fundraiser at school, they'll always have their goal, and their goal is always a very big number, right? Or, so to speak, to what is actually attainable, right? But like, they'll be like $10,000, right? And people will be like, "How are you going to get to $10,000?" Well, you can just donate $5. That's fine, because all we need is $5 from you, and it'll be fine. And we just need 2,000 people to donate $5. That's it. Right? And so that would be door in the face, sure. It's like nobody's asking you to donate $10,000. All we need is 2,000 people to donate $5, and then we'd be fine. Yeah. So that would be my answer to that question. And there was another question which I thought was interesting. So I'm not going to... Oh, shoot. Oh, there it is. So another question regarding the door in the face, foot in the door is cults. We were talking about cults yesterday, and I'm sure many of you enjoy cults as onlookers. So anyways, if you are super interested in cults, I found the Cult News Network, which is constantly updated, as you can see. This is all about various cults that exist in the world. I think there's a focus on English-speaking cults. But if you watched Smallville, I'll just use this for an example. If you watch Smallville, the woman who played Chloe, Allison Mack, was indicted and convicted, I think, maybe. Not quite sure yet. For participating in a sex cult by this dude that she was dating. And she helped procure women for this sex cult, and it was called Nexium, right? So, why am I bringing up cults? Well, the question is, do cults use foot-in-the-door strategies to collect followers? The answer is yes. And so I'm going to give a parody. I'm going to show you a parody cult called the DMHO.org group. The dihydrogen monoxide. Okay. Does anybody know what dihydrogen monoxide is? Water. Yeah. It's water. What's important for life? Water. Water's important for life, right? Well, here is the GeoCities website for DHMO.org. Okay. The United States Environmental Assessment Center. Welcome to the website for the DHMO Research Division, or DMRD, currently located in Newark, Delaware. Okay. The controversy, which is a link, surrounding dihydrogen monoxide has never been more widely debated, and the goal of this site is to provide an unbiased data clearinghouse and a forum for public discussion. Okay. So, Penn and Teller, yeah, as Kitty said, Penn and Teller did a little field experiment with this. Okay. And I believe this is from Penn and Teller Bullshit, their show that came out in the 2000 aughts. So, more than 10 years ago. Yeah. So, I'll let them...
We sent one of our pals, Chris McGaha, to a rally to collect signatures for a petition. She's going to ask people to sign a petition banning dihydrogen monoxide. That's hydrogen monoxide. Water. That's right, water. And she's not going to lie or even stretch the truth. Not at all. She's just going to talk about what water is and what it does.
It can drown you.
Vocabulary and tone of environmental hysteria.
This is a petition for dihydrogen monoxide. What it is it's a chemical that is found now in reservoirs and in lakes. Pesticides, different kind of companies are using this. Styrofoam companies, nuclear companies. And now when they use it in pesticides, when we're washing our fruit and things like that, it's not coming out, which of course means that it's ended up in the grocery stores and in our babies' food and stuff like that. Causes excessive sweating, excessive urination, anything to help the environment.
These people signed. We don't know if they thought, but they signed.
There we are.
Can I get you guys to sign a petition? What for? For banning dihydrogen monoxide? Oh, yeah, I'll sign that. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, I'll sign that.
The petition woman was getting signatures left and right. Oh, okay, mostly left. But, man, there's a lot of people against that evil water.
It's everywhere, and we just really need to ban it. 2 more supporters.
These passionate, informed people didn't even need to ask what dihydrogen monoxide is. They didn't even ask. Is passion supposed to replace common sense? We understand the desire to join up and do something important. It's sexy to save the world, but you gotta spend a couple of minutes to find out if you're really saving the world and not just being herded around by some politically motivated assholes who may not really care that much about the environment, but see this as some chance to raise money for whatever they think is a good idea. No end justifies the means of lying. Man, there were a lot of people who signed the petition. And we're not talking a handful of dopes. We're talking hundreds.
It causes a lot of urination, vomiting.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it.
Oh, okay.
Even the head organizer of this rally signed the petition eagerly.
Thank you very much. Hi, Hi, will you sign my petition?
And our petition was still getting signatures.
Companies like pesticide companies, styrofoam companies, nuclear companies, all of these people use it.
Finally, we let her tip it.
Are you concerned about water?
I am, yeah.
Is water something that should be banned?
What sort of water?
Water.
Should be banned?
Yes.
No, I don't think so. I think we need to drink water, and I don't know what you mean by water should be banned.
This petition is to ban water. Dihydrogen monoxide is water. H2O.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we set these folks up. But it does show that maybe they're not so much environmentalists as they are joiners of anything.
Whee! So what do we think? Would you sign a petition? Sign a petition to, I don't know, be socially desirable, maybe? That's an intriguing thought, isn't it? So, really, the foot in the door is the social desirability feeling. Okay? Feeling of being socially desirable. That's that foot, right? And that's tiny. It's a tiny little elf foot in the door. And then it just takes a little bit. It doesn't require a lot, right? You haven't demanded so much commitment from somebody. A lot of people are doing it. How much social proof would you see if you were like the 500th signer to that? You'd be like, oh my gosh, there's pages upon pages upon pages of signatures. Yeah, sign me up. These people know what they're talking about. So it's actually, foot in the door is really powerful because you can get that social, if you have a lot of information, get that social proof, create reciprocity. Okay. And you can get people to do the littlest things and the dumbest things. Okay, so be careful with that. Be careful. This is a very powerful tool in social psych to, get people to bend to your will. It's a very powerful tool, but be careful. I love this website. Love it so much. A similar question was asked, and similar questions. A question was asked people a decade or more ago, and it has been asked a few times. Whether or not we should teach, so this has racial undertones to it. Whether or not we should teach Arabic numerals to our kids in the United States. What do you want? You think people said yes or said no? They do, or they... Yeah, probably no, Grayson. Yeah. But here are the Arabic numerals that you all know so well. Actually, the vast majority of the world uses Arabic numerals. Of course. Yep, they heard the word Arabic, Sophia. Exactly right. Right? So it's kind of... So if you did the same thing that Penn and Teller did with DHMO, you get people to sign a petition, get Arabic numerals out of our schools, get them out of our schools, We don't want them in our schools at all. Okay? So similar thing. Yeah, very powerful. Very powerful. Okay? Because we are social creatures. We are social creatures. Let's close up that. How many of you shop at Costco? Who shops at Costco? Sad now. Because Costco doesn't have the one thing we all love from Costco. Why? Why coronavirus? Why? You've taken the one thing away from us. I will never, ever will hate you for this. So, there used to be a store in malls. It's from an older psychologist, and her name is Sue Franz, and she teaches psychology up in Washington, just outside of the Seattle area. And she was she wrote a blog post about this store that used to be in malls. Hey, what are malls, everyone? About a store called Hickory Farms. And Hickory Farms used to be really successful in getting people to buy their ham, their turkey, all sorts of different meats. Yes, it was a store inside of a mall selling meat. And the one thing that they were so good at, which sort of prompted places like Costco and Sam's Club to do this, even places like Trader Joe's, if you're from an area that has Trader Joe's, bless Trader Joe's. But anyways, the one thing they did was give out free samples. Okay. And when they started giving out free samples in the stores, you know, standing out in the middle, not in the middle, but like near their door, near their you know, their storefront or whatever, out in the walkway, concourse, whatever you want to call it, with free samples, they would attract people into their stores, and they would increase the sales. So once they did that, it made a difference. Okay, they did. So does free samples increase sales? Well, in 2011, Friedman and Ramen compared 4 conditions. Okay, and this is kind of like what we just looked at. This is what we looked at with respect to what was that, the persuasion quiz, right? So those who received a free gift spent 46 more on their purchase than those who did not get a free gift. And that is really creepy. I did not know he was behind me. And I just see a little boy right behind me. Oh my gosh. The ring, yeah. He's being super creepy. Now I'm gonna die in 7 days, my wife. Destiny got scared too. Oh man. He was trying to floss. You can't see him because it was too low. But he was trying to floss. He's trying to attack him now. That was very creepy. Anyways, Costco breaks my heart because they don't have samples anymore. The reason why they're doing the free samples, yeah. The reason why they're doing the sample, they do the samples to increase sales in a particular product. Yeah. Oh. I think that would have been worse. Upstairs, Murph. Good boy. Oh, my dog missed his step and smacked his face right into the stairs. Good times. Kid. He's a dope. Pretty dope, but dope. Yeah. You know, I just realized that you have no idea what he looks like unless you've found Astrid on socials or Instagram. So let me. Well, yeah. We'll get back to this. I know you want to see my dog. Again, let me see if I can find a good picture, a recent picture of him. I mean, that's a good picture, but it's a little... No, I need... She has a lot of pictures. Now, like, where are the good... This is him, Stop. Sorry. That's him being all, like... profesh. He's a model. He has heterochromia. So his right eye is blue, and what you can't tell from here is that his left eye is brown. He is lab something. We think he has Catahoula in him. Because he's always full of energy, even when he's panting like crazy. He's like, "Oh, you want to play? Cool, man." He's got this merle coat, and he's got some spotting on his actual skin. 85-ish pounds. He's dumb. But look how pretty he is. So dumb. Pretty he is. All right. Oh yeah, we were talking about samples. Okay. So next time you're at a store, actually I shouldn't say that. Next time you're at a store where there's no coronavirus, the free samples mean something. The people store wants you to buy the thing that you're sampling, and one way to do that is to create the reciprocity that you just ate some of their food that they took from their inventory. So they want you to buy it. They're like, took a piece, now buy it. Now, does it work for everyone? Absolutely not. Does it increase sales? Absolutely. Does it increase sales across the board? No. But all we need is a small percentage increase, and that means more revenue. That means more revenue down the line, right? And more revenue means more profits for the store, for the producer, and so on and so forth, right? It's a chain supply and demand thing, and so yeah, more people buying it means more. And so why would we do free samples? To get more people to buy it. What is that? Foot in the door. Yeah. Creating reciprocity. It exists everywhere you go. Everywhere you go. Okay. Infomercials. Infomercials are very similar. So I mean, there's not a lot of infomercials that you see now because people are moving away from free TV. But I'm sure that in your life, for those of you who are, around the age of 17 to 20, that you've likely seen an infomercial and you know what they look like and what they sound like. Why do they always offer a free gift? Well, that's why. They offer a free gift so you get the commitment. You want that commitment. They want that commitment. Buy now and receive double the offer. You know? Oh, wow. Yeah. Goodness. Oh, sweaty balls. Eat sweaty. But that's not all. All right. So we'll come back to this. And take a 5-minute break. So whatever you are, please come back at 10:06, and we will jump back into it with a little bit more compliance and obedience. So come back at 10:06 because I said so. Alrighty. Righty. Backity backity back. Back 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 back. Back 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 back. Alright. So we were talking about compliance, and I wanted to finish compliance before we go into obedience. So reciprocity, social proof, commitment. Yes, let's do that. So the other one that I wanted to talk about was how many of you buy things? We'll just go with buy things. I guess do things as well. Do things when you see a lot of people doing it. Who does that? I do. I'll tell you what I do, and then you can let me know what you do in chat. I used to play, and I can't really anymore because I don't have the time, and two, my computer's this iMac is not powerful enough. I used to play a game called City Skylines. It's a city building game, city and a smidge of management. And it's very moddable. It's very moddable. There's the base game, and then there are like thousands of mods. And so I would look to see what mods people had, and then I would go to the Steam Workshop to look at what mods people had. And so I decided, well, who is using these mods? How many people are using these mods? And most popular was how I generally ranked the list of mods to add to my game. Most popular, right? Most popular. So it's very clear. It's very clear. So what sorts of things do you do? And of course, most popular also generally means potentially more stable, or works better, seamless integration, that sort of thing. At least with the game itself, right? But what sort of things do you do when you see lots of people doing it? What sort of things do you do? Because I have a very interesting, what I thought was interesting. But yeah, what do you do? What do you do? And if you haven't said hello in chat and you are in my class, let me know. I think there are a few users here. But if you're just watching, welcome. If you're just watching and you're interested in science, specifically psychological science. Yeah, let me know. We see. There you are, Merrick. Generally avoid things with larger groups. I'm not talking about being in larger group. I'm talking about, do you do things that you see lots of other people doing? Okay. This could be far removed. Like, my example of mods for City Skylines has nothing to do with large groups of people. I'm just sitting in my office playing the game by myself. So I'm not talking about being in groups. Aaliyah, I think I did something like this yesterday when I saw girls with the new trendy swimsuit and bought it. That was quick. What, I don't know what swimsuit you're talking about. You use the article the, so it's like a specific new swimsuit. That's, I think. Megan, you say that you definitely do that as well when you see other women wearing clothes. You're like, I gotta have that. What about if they're like super famous? Is the urge to be like them stronger? Really curious about that. As somebody who doesn't do well with buying clothes, are you saying nah about the famous person, or just curious? Actually, a notification for Amazon just could be literally anyone. Okay, an Amazon notification just comes. So I'm getting something from Amazon today, or no, it shipped, so I'll get it in a couple of days. Ratings on Amazon, right? One, we have the amount of ratings, the physical number of ratings, right? Whether that's 100 or 1,000, whatever. And then we have the stars, right? And there's actually groups of researchers that literally just spend all of their research time on things like consumer ratings. And I was at a conference a few years ago, and I was in a set. I gave my talk in a session on it was. I can't even remember. I think it was just a broad cognitive decision making symposium, and the people that followed me literally did an experiment where they gave people Amazon ratings, both stars and then number, and they manipulated the amount. They manipulated the stars, and they found that most people were keen to get to the one that had a lot of reviews, and those reviews were positive, right? So 4 or 5 star, or not 5 stars, because really the average then doesn't become 5 stars unless something's really awesome, right? So about 4 stars, 4 to 5 stars, I'll say, is what people tended to like the most. And this is all social proof. So when the iPhone came out, how many of you have an iPhone? Who has an iPhone? Audrey says, I'm on a website and I see that it shows how many people have bought something. I look at more things. Bought. Merrick, a bunch of people I follow posted about art fight. So I started doing that. Okay, cool. Yeah. So we've got some iPhone users in here. I do. Yep. I have one too. This is chat, by the way. This is chat. Just in case my main screen gets obscured by something. So yeah. iPhones. iPhone. So in Poland one year, this was in 2008, when the iPhone was launched in Poland, Apple paid people to stand in line. There you go. Social proof. Now, would you opt to get paid to act as a social proofer? Would that be something that you would be paid to do? To essentially lie to somebody about your interest in whatever thing that you're lining up for. You were getting paid to do it. Yep. Would you be okay with that lie? Because these people lined up to act as though they were interested, to drum up interest in the iPhone in Poland. Would you do that? Yes, because science. So you'd be okay with lying to people, because it's a good social experiment from Apple, even though they're doing it for money making reasons. Would it pay? I don't know, Audrey. You're getting paid. That's all I can tell you. You're getting paid to do it. You're getting paid for your time. Whether or not it's appropriate, the only thing that we can say is that teachers are overworked and underpaid. So maybe it's better than being a teacher. I don't know. So, wow. Okay. You would like to be a social proofer. All right. We could call these people exist. These people exist. What do we call them now? What do we call them now? Who are these social proofers in your life? We have a fun name for them. They hang out on Instagram. YouTube. Hey, me. No. Twitch. What do we call them? Influencers. Yep, Audrey, you are correct. These are our social proofers now. I prefer the term social entanglements. Yeah. Hashtag ad, right? Hashtag ad. Oh, man. So, these are influencers. So back in 2008, there was no such thing. There was no such thing. You had to get paid to stand in line for something that may not even been all that good. I mean, the iPhone is good, in my personal opinion. So now we have people who can do this from the privacy of their own home. Amazon sends them a box and they're like, hey guys, so I just got the new iPhone and I just want to tell you that, like, it's really nice and it's really cool. So there are really cool things that you can do with it. Like, you can talk to people on the phone. You can type to people. Yeah, it's also acts as a GPS. Like, wow, it's really cool. So hashtag ad promoted. Buy it. Everybody buy it. You can see my ring light in it. Look, that's my ring light. Buy my iPhone. Yeah, it's great. This is a Spawn as sponsor. This is a sponsored post. I have a new case for my iPhone. It was sent by Amazon. Nice. It's really hard. It makes sense because, like, if I drop my phone, it sucks. So yeah, like, get it. That's our influence. Typing on a phone. Why would you do such a thing? Oh, the days of T9. Did anybody have a flip phone? And I hope you enjoyed that reenactment of there's. Sorry, it's very it was a very stereotypical version of it. I post that. Oh, the last thing I wanted to I did want to, so if you are all, I do want to say there's a really cool website that I just found. It's called the Phrase Finder. So if you're ever curious at where phrases come from, like, there's etymology and coinage information about, so what is the meaning of foot in the door, right? Okay, so there's the definition and everything. What's the origin? The foot in the door came from 1914 in the Oakland Tribune. That's where it originated. 1914. So it's 106 years old. Almost. August 1914. All I'm asking is that you authorize the park department to go ahead. Yes, but you are trying to commit us to an expenditure of $48,400 or more, said Bacchus. No, I am merely asking that the first step be taken, answered Mayor Mott. What a name. You've got a mighty clever way of getting your foot in the door. And then we can't get it closed until the whole proposition is carried. Yes. That's where foot in the door came from. You have a very clever way of getting your foot in the door. Coined 19. Okay. But that I found a new technique called foot in the face. Foot in the face. So it's generally speaking, from what I can gather from me reading this, is that it's a combination of foot in the door and door in the face. So you're getting kicked in the face, is what it is. Kick in the face. But really, it's foot in the face. So FITF instead of DITF. Foot in the face. So this is what you do, and maybe you can try it at home. Ask the person to complete a moderately difficult task. Depending on the response, ask them to complete a second moderately difficult task. If they refuse to do the first task, ask them immediately to do the second task. If they comply with the first task request, ask them to do the second task after a delay. So delay, okay? So this is the door in the face part. This, foot in the door. Okay. When they have completed this, test their inclination towards obeying you as asking them to complete yet another moderate task at some time in the not too distant future. For example, after a few days. And so here's an example. My son's underneath my desk right now. Yeah, that's right, Ollie. I saw you. We're almost creepy. Not creepy enough. My foot on your face. Foot in the face. There we go. I'm gonna put my foot in his face. Oh, are my feet cold? Foot in the face. Blip, 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 blip. A teacher gives their new class a challenging but not hard task to complete. When the class does this, hey, it sounds familiar. The teacher congratulates them and gives them another such task. The tasks are designed to fit in the whole of the first lesson. In the second lesson, the class is now ready to do as they are asked. Or our salesperson asks a customer to complete a questionnaire about their preferences. She then asks them for an appointment in which she will demonstrate a car. She finds that asking the first question increases the chance of a yes for the second one. Foot in the face. He has the hiccups now. So that's foot in the face. Getting kicked in the face. Alright, and you can read how that works. There's the creepy guy. And there are hiccups. Ollie, how old are you? What? 6? Yeah. Yep. Why don't you go drink water? Go drink water upstairs. And here are more examples of door in the face. There was a question from one of y'all on the forums, and so I'm going to just drop that in chat, and you can look at that at your own leisure. More examples for door in the face. Okay. Let's talk about obedience, and start by playing this. I'm going to show the lyrics on the screen because it's a live song. Oh my goodness. Start that again. Song about Milgram. Okay, advertisements. Can you stop?
Your time is up, I'll tell you why.
Oh. All right, everybody ready?
I make myself. I get by, I never needed anybody's help. And I'm going at that, and they told me that I would press the buzzer, would press the buzzer. At the graduate lab, they were doing some tests. I pressed the buzzer, I pressed the buzzer. Ride a circle off the highway, spiral into the driveway. In the maze of the creek, and they'll be waiting at the lake. I don't know how everybody makes it through the daily drill. Paint the nails, walk a dog, pay every bill. Feeling sorry for this guy, but I pressed the shot. He gets the answers wrong. I have to up the odds, and he begged me to stop, but they told me to go. I pressed the buzzer, I pressed the buzzer. So get out of my head, just give me my line. I pressed the buzzer, I pressed the buzzer. Ride a circle off of the highway, spiral into the driveway. In the maze of the creek, and they'll be waiting at the lake. They brought me back to the lab to discuss the test. I put my earrings on, found my heels for a dress. Right away I knew it was like a failed quiz. The man said, do you know what a fascist is? I said, yes, when you do things you're not proud of. But you're scraping by, taking orders from above. I get it now, I'm the face, I'm the cause of war. You don't have to blame white-coated men anymore. When I knew it was wrong, I played it just like a game. I pressed the buzzer, I pressed the buzzer. It's just 70 bucks now, everything's changed. I pressed the buzzer, I pressed the buzzer. But tell me where are your stocks, would you do this again? I pressed the buzzer. And tell me who made your clothes, was it children or men? I pressed the buzzer. Ride a circle off of the highway, spiral into the driveway. In the maze of the green fence, they'll be waiting at the lake.
Yeah, what did we think of that song? Literally about Milgram, right? And a little social commentary at the end here. Put the lyrics because it's a little hard to understand from that live recorded version. But the name of the singer is Dar Williams. She was interviewed by NPR, a decade ago when she recorded when she released the song. I'm not gonna play the NPR, but no, not very many people listen. Not very many people make songs about Milgram, and it's very important. So, for those of you who haven't heard of Milgram, what'd you think? What'd you think about the quick little snippet that you got from the book and the lecture video about Milgram? Good old Stanley Milgram. What do we think? Do you think you would do the same thing as 67% of the people that went all the way up? Interesting question is obedience. Do as I say. Another question I have for you all is how many of you disobeyed your parents in the recent past? We'll say last few years. Have you disobeyed your parents?
They talk about another kind of world. Another kind of world. What do you
You gotta give me more than that, Audrey and Grayson. Like, what have you done? What did you disobey? Nobody's watching. Your parents aren't watching this, unless they are watching this. Aaliyah, same thing. So yeah, you did. What did you do? What did you disobey? Keep it PG. What is being a teenager without disobeying your parents? Maybe. It's the individualistic way of America. Individualistic American way. You won't find that in collectivistic cultures saying, what's being a teenager without disobeying your parents a little? Won't find that. So it's a very individualistic notion for teenagers to sit here and say, what's the harm? It's all about being a teenager, right? I'm just curious what it was. What it was. Kitty snuck out all the time and was not sneaky at all.
They talk about another kind of world.
Okay.
What are you afraid of?
I'm lost in old ways. I'm not saying. Just listen.
Grayson. We have disagreements on a recently legalized sub. I wonder which one that is. Heroin, right? Kitty, that's a good question. But again, it's a culturally based development, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. It is a developmentally, maybe appropriate, depends on who you ask, right? But it is a feature of an individualistic culture rather than a collectivist culture. Like, it's not a human universal, like, I'm a teenager now, I'm gonna break apart from my parents, because that's not the way on Mandalore, you know. Merrick, my mom would beat me senseless if I tried to sneak out. Ooh, my. Great. Sophia lied about where I was going, what I was doing, just a little bit. Do you think, I'm curious, do you think they would be mad at you if you told the truth, or disallow you from doing the thing? Or did you think, would they actually say no, or do you think that you perceive them saying no, and thus decided to lie to head that off, even though you don't rightly know? Aaliyah, for the lion, huh? Alright. To know. Because I'm going to have teenagers soon. Just getting ready. Ready. I'm not gonna. I will chain you to your bed. Oh, man. Prefer not to find out what they'd say, just in case. My parents would have heckin' disallowed me from stuff as a teenager. I told. Interesting. That obedience runs very deep. Very deep. Very deep. And I feel like that might be a subcultural thing too, as well as a parenting style feature. So like, and what I mean by subculture is, like, we can probably think of regional cultures in the United States having different qualities to them, and the obedience might be stronger factors in some regions, like the South or the Midwest, whereas it might be a little less stringent, I don't know, in the Pacific Northwest or something. I'm or Northeast. I don't know. But you know, there's some things, right? You got to give them breadcrumbs when they're on your trail, and give them half-truths to get off the trail to protect the bigger lie plot. That sounds like a lot of work. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you right now, Grayson. That sounds like it sounds very troubling, from a psychological standpoint, because it will just eat at your brain. Breadcrumbs. Here's my half-truth Hansel, and here's my other half-truth Gretel. We drop breadcrumbs. Lying to my mom. You know I'm writing this down, y'all, and I'm just gonna inform all of your parents. I'm just kidding. Am I the... Lying to my mom about what I knew about some of my friends smoking the recent... You know you guys can say cannabis, right? There, I said it. Marijuana, weed, pot, recently legalized substance. Legal. Be proud. Be out and proud. Recently legalized. Yeah, it's cannabis. Cannabis. The devil's lettuce. There you go. If the devil was putting that in his or her salad, I'd ask very strong questions about, do you understand what that tastes like? The goofy grass. So many things. Mary Jane. Good times. Yeah. Lying. I like Audrey's thing though. Lying to my mom about what I knew about some of my friends smoking the recently legalized substance. Yeah, I don't know why they smell like skunk all the time. Maybe they have a pet skunk, Mom. Jeez. Get off my case about Joe. As a pet, wacky. It's not even close to tobacco. I never understood that one. I mean, she bought the story. But did she really buy the story, or did she just say, okay, honey, it's nice? Y'all are killing me. Great. Love it. The reason why I ask is, a study was performed recently in the UK. So this is from that Research Digest blog where they digest research for y'all. And teens reject junk food when healthy eating is framed as rebellion. So, who is guilty of eating a lot of junk food? Raise your hand. Raise your hand high. Oh no, my hand's disappearing because I eat. Okay. So this is I thought this was pretty interesting, right? So, obedience. The defiance of obedience is what's considered rebellion, right? So, the idea was that, like, eating junk food is the conformist way of living out your teenage years. But what if you ate brown rice, kale, 5 servings of fruits and veggies a day, stick it to your parents, stick it to the man. They want you to eat junk food. What if you said, not today, Satan? So that was the crux of, I've completely condensed the entire study for you. That was the crux of it. Okay, and it was in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. A researcher at the University of Chicago, and then another at UT Austin. Okay, they recruited 500 teenagers, 13 to 14. Okay, and they were all 8th graders. Okay. They were all 8th graders, and they're like, you either were in the treatment group or you're in no treatment control, and so on and so forth. And so here we go. So it included pictures of 4 executives and consultants of the food industry described as stereotypical, controlling, hypocritical adults. Hey, guess what? You're gonna be one of these. Just kidding, you're not. Maybe. Try not to be. Okay. So, of course, a 13, 14-year-old's gonna be like, hypocritical adults, man. I don't want those people in my life. Jerks, right? So, what were they promoting? Okay. They were promoting junk food. So what's the rebellion? Choosing healthy foods, because it's an act of autonomy and independence, nonconformity, disobedience. I think that's something that's useful, right? So, again, if you want, and you may or may not have kids later in life, so if you want your kids to do something, sure, we can look at behavioral responses, operant conditioning. That's obviously going to work to shape their behavior. But if you want to take a different tack, if you want to do a different approach, reframe it. And this is this work was importantly done in the United States, where this sort of thing in an individualistic society is really a feature of adolescence. This autonomy and independence. Okay, it's a feature of individualistic societies, right? So you could imagine the findings of this might be different if they did it on 500 Chinese 13 to 14-year-olds, right? Or 500 Japanese 13 to 14-year-olds who don't necessarily have that groundswell as an adolescence for autonomy and independence. Okay, so this is where cross-cultural really becomes important to dissect what is a human universal, what is not, and how does this relate to obedience. Okay, how does this relate to obedience? Let me know if you have any questions about that one. Okay. So you learned about Milgram. Here's more research digest. You learned you saw the little clip. Probably heard about Milgram if you took psychology in high school. Blanking there. And you probably heard the story about how people were, and I say story purposefully, you probably heard about the story where participants were not really fully debriefed, and many of them felt a bit strange afterward, and they didn't like what they were doing. You probably heard that story. It speaks to the narrative of the correct idea, that the Milgram experiment is very okay. That the Milgram study is and was unethical to do at the time. And this is one question that I think Grayson you might have had about why was it unethical to do, and I'll come back to that. But so go back to so the story goes that people didn't feel very good after it. They didn't know what they were doing. Okay. And that it was not about learning, but about obedience, right? Because the story, remember, was the Elegant Interaction Laboratory, and they were doing a test of punishment on learning, right? Also, punishment on learning doesn't work. Reinforcement on learning. Anyways, as with many of these classic research studies that occurred in like the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, and even the 70s, some current researchers are actually going back and scouring all the information, the original research, the notes, the news articles, the press releases that came from this, even going so far as interviewing people who were participants if they could get their hands on the names. Okay. And a set of researchers actually went back and they looked at whether or not people understood what sort of study they were in. And it turns out most of the men that came and did the research over the, 1962, 1963 set of studies did realize that they were a part of something more than just learning. And a lot of them didn't actually feel very bad about it because they kind of were wise to the ruse. And of course, they were debriefed afterward. Whether or not they were debriefed consistently and fully is a question for the ethics. But many of them just like, I got paid, so that's, I came here and you're paying me for my time. That's all I was doing here. If it was serious, you would have stopped me. So, I mean, come on. I mean, if I was really killing this guy, I would have heard the ambulance sirens. I would have heard the police coming and shutting us down. You wouldn't be able to do this. I've got a fairly right mind in my head, right? Or things like, I figured that somebody had let him out. After a point, and I don't know if this was in the documentary, but after a point of moving up the there's a picture of it, moving up this big shock generator, the learner, the Confederate, didn't actually say anything anymore. It's almost like the tape recorder that they used ran out of tape, right? They didn't add anything else. The person just was done. And so, wouldn't this be a better attribution than, oh my god, I killed him? I think it would be. That seems, yes, this is a little bit of hindsight bias from my perspective, having learned about Milgram the same way that many of you learned, even like if you did Milgram in high school, or psychology in high school. I learned Milgram the same way you did. Yeah, people obey, and people obey a lot, and it's actually pretty sad that people obey. And we already know that. We already know people will obey for very minimal reason. But looking back on it with a little bit more clarity and maybe some hindsight bias, right? Recognize those biases. These two seem like much better. They seem like much better explanations for why people kept going, okay? Then, oh my gosh, these crazy folks will obey for whatever reason. For whatever reason, they'll just go die. Doesn't that? I mean, it's coming from me. What about you? What do you think? And while you're answering that question, just very briefly, so please do respond to that question in chat. So the question from Grayson, I believe, was why is that? Why was it unethical? And it has to do. So on the face of it, it's very difficult to actually spot the ethical issues, right? They were deceived, but then they were debriefed. The problem is the amount of deception did not match the amount of de-hoaxing in the debrief that they received, right? So the participants weren't told at the beginning that they were going to be shocking a person. And they were already in the midst of the experiment when they first learned that how much these shocks started hurting people, right? And so there was no safeguard against potential psychological harm that that person could consent to, right? So the ethical issue was not that they weren't debriefed, it's that they weren't informed ahead of time. Okay? That's one of the major issues. Second one was to withdraw consent. So when you go to a study now, when you go and participate in a study now, you are given the choice of whether or not to participate, and you are told you may stop at any time. Now, of course, this experiment was predicated on people obeying even when they wanted to stop. But you now can't, the reason why you can't do that now is because what's to stop any researcher from going, no, you have to continue. I need your data. You have to continue. The experiment requires you to continue. You cannot separate somebody who is legally withdrawing their consent versus the behavior of the experimenter. Okay, you can't separate those two because the experimenter is saying, no, you have to continue. Then how do I withdraw my consent? You have to continue. Well, I want to withdraw my consent. No, you have to continue. I want to withdraw my consent. No. Yeah, right? So it goes back and forth. That's the second. And I think the most important... So I am the Institutional Review Board chair at Eureka, and that is by far the most important one to me when we talk about Milgram. Is this idea of withdrawing consent. You can't do that. I have a story for you. I think we'll just end with this story because it's an interesting story, and I like story time. And this isn't. I tell the story in the midst of the obedience part of this because I actually spend one class period in a normal semester just on obedience. So when I was in early graduate school, I was doing my master's degree at Cal State Northridge. I was in my second year, so I was an advanced graduate student. I was just finishing up my thesis. I had a couple more classes to do, but I was pretty much done. And a friend of mine who was in the same lab was doing a pretty significant research study about multiracial but hidden identity features in social setting. I can't even remember, but I'll give you. So his participants were of mixed races. It could be bi or multiracial, but they had to at least be biracial. Okay. And they could have they could identify with one or more of their part of their mixed races, right? And so what they had to do was they came into the lab and they were shown a video of one or two videos, and they had to come up with a speech, and they told that we're going to be evaluated, right? So this is quite a bit of underlying stereotype threat issues, and, among other things. So there were 3 Confederates, and for my friend, lab mate, I acted as a Confederate. So I played the role of a clinical psychology graduate student who was among 3 to evaluate these participants. Okay? Excuse me. To evaluate these participants. And we had to act bored and unimpressed. So they had to do a serial subtraction task. And this is when you count from a number back by X amount, right? So if I'd say count from 1056, count backwards from 1056 by 3s. 1056. 1053. 1050. 1047, etc., 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 right? And you had to do it quick. So that was our first task. So we had them start up by 3s, and if they were okay and quick on that one, then we had changed to 7s. Okay, so you had to count backwards by 7s. 1056, 1059. If they made a mistake, we said, no, start from the beginning. Very, very curtly. And And then from the film clip that they watched, they had to develop a 5-minute speech. And during that speech, when they were telling that speech, we had to act very bored and unimpressed. Like, look at our watches, yawn, don't make eye contact, write notes with a stern look on our faces or a bored look on our faces. So, to make them not feel great. Well, one day, and so there were a rotating group of us, so I didn't actually participate in all of them based on my schedule, but there were a rotating group of us. And one time there was a group of 3 Confederates. I was not a part of this, so I was not. So the reason why I'm telling this is because I understand what was happening, so I can explain it. But anyways, there was a guy in the lab, another undergraduate who was acting as a Confederate. He was in the midst of this evaluation part of the experiment. My friend, who was the experimenter, always acted as an anchor for the participant, but he really needed to go to the bathroom at this point. And so he got up and he ran out to the bathroom. But he had everyone continue to keep everyone on time and to not waste that opportunity. And so now that this person's anchor was gone, and so the participant was a woman, an undergraduate woman, and she essentially crumbled as soon as my friend, the experimenter, left. And she started crying, and she wanted to stop. And this other guy, the Confederate, was like, "No, you have to continue," because he was playing the role. And she like shakily continues while like crying at the same time, or at least trying to get words out or whatever. And she again repeated that she wanted to leave. And again, he said, "No, please continue with your speech." And my friend comes back in from the bathroom. And he sees that she's crying. And he's like, "Okay, we're done." And then he asks what happened. And he said, well... And then the Confederate was like, this is what I did. And my friend's just like... all of the color disappears from his face. And he's like, "I gotta tell our lab supervisor, the faculty member." And... he flipped his ass. He was like, "He did what? Did what?" And so we had to go to the research coordinator and be like, "Okay, this is what just happened. If she comes back or says that she suffered significant amount of harm, please tell her I will talk to her." And my supervisor, the faculty member, could have potentially lost his job if she wanted to pursue retribution, and just whatever legal challenge she wanted to make, whatever kind of issue she wanted to raise about being not allowed to stop when she asked to stop. And so I hold that as a IRB chair, enshrined with protecting research participants at Eureka College, human subjects at Eureka College. That is by far the most important part of why Milgram's study is no longer ethical, and you have to maintain, want to redo it. Now, they did redo it. They, back in like 2008 or something like that, they did get the necessary requirements, and ABC covered it and all that stuff. That's what this one is. I'll drop this one in chat. But yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna end there. Thanks everybody for sticking around for story time. I hope you enjoyed the story. But we're gonna end there because we're coming up on when my router says let's end it. That's why I've been disconnecting. At 2 hours and 3 minutes, it will end. So I'm going to go ahead and end the stream before that. Okay. Anyways, bye everybody. Enjoy your day, and we will jump back into it tomorrow with groups. We'll talk about groups tomorrow. So get your questions in, do those things, and have a very good day. See y'all later.